So, we're going to just deal with some quotes straight from Richard Morris. We've already suggested, I think everybody here kind of gets the idea of what we're suggesting about the elements, okay? So now, I want to quote directly from a Western source. What time is it?
7:28.
Oh, good time. Okay. Okay, the first quote, directly from Richard Morris's Last Sorcerers, Path from Alchemy to the Periodic Table. Y'all gonna trip when y'all hear what this Westerner has said.
I think I know what you're about to say.
I just got.
Alchemy was born of a fusion of Greek philosophy and the Egyptian chemical arts in Alexandria. The city founded by Alexander the Great, I'm only quoting him, at the mouth of the Nile in 331 BC. Remember, 31, 32, 33, 34. The Egyptians had for centuries practiced embalming, dyeing, glassmaking, and metallurgy. Each required knowledge of the relevant chemical process. Still him, I'm quoting. There were numerous recipes, including ones for making artificial gems and false gold. Perhaps it was only natural that people steeped in Greek philosophy would think of trying to make gold when they encountered the rich Egyptian tradition of practical chemistry. Notice the use of the term practical chemistry. When things are practical, they make sense in everyday life. He said, practical, he said, listen what he said. People steeped in Greek philosophy, it's only natural that people steeped in Greek philosophy would think of trying to make gold. Remember that point, because we're going to talk about the whole how they try to make gold. But it's only natural that people steeped in Greek philosophy would think of trying to make gold when they encountered the rich Egyptian tradition of practical chemistry. Tradition is a key word. It means it was already happening. Practical, meaning use for everyday life. Chemistry. That's what they were doing every day. Okay? Keep in mind, Mr. Morris is describing the beginning of a phenomenon that the Western world calls alchemy. Let me state that alchemy is understood today as a separate entity from what the Western world now calls chemistry. Alchemy is understood by Western man as a deeper spiritual understanding of the elements. It's understood by Western man as a deeper spiritual understanding of the elements. Alchemists would often be confused for magicians or sorcerers, hence the name of the Last Sorcerers, for their ability to manipulate the elements. Okay? Keep in mind that both alchemy and chemistry were one and the same in ancient chem. Alchemy and chemistry were one and the same in ancient chem, as you will see in the next quote. This next quote describes a period nearly 1,000 years after Aristotle. That's plenty of time for the new Greeks to believe that their great ancestors left behind something unique. Follow me? Okay. The year is between 640 and 720 AD. Remember, Alexandria is 334 BC. So we got plenty of time for generation upon generation to believe. Aristotle, Plato, all of them came up with natural philosophy. So you got people geeked in Egypt like, yo, our early scholars was the bomb. They gave us this thing called natural philosophy. They're talking about fire, air, water, earth. Let's go everywhere with it. Let's go teach them primitive Egyptians about it. See, they clueless. These are new Greeks. They don't know about their Alexandrian ancestors, where they got theirs from. So they start traveling across the continent of Asia. They go through Arabia. Okay? They run into some Arabs. Geeked up. We got natural philosophy from 1,000 years ago. Plato said this 1,000 years ago. The world only 6,000 years old. He said a long time ago. This is natural philosophy. Look at what Richard Morris says when they came into Arabia. Look at what Richard Morris says about when they come into Arabia. It was the Muslims who gave alchemy its name. The word is derived from the Arabic word alchemiyya. Al is the Arabic definitive article. Words beginning with those two letters, such as alcohol, alcohol, and algebra, are generally of Arabic origin. The exact meaning of the word chemiyya is uncertain. It used to be thought that it derived from Kim, the ancient name of Egypt. However, recent scholars have cast doubt on this idea. The Arabs were not much interested in the mystical accretions that alchemy had acquired. Remember, the Greeks now, they have separated natural philosophy and what they call science. So the natural philosophers are like spiritual. You see what I'm saying? So when they came with that natural philosophy, it was like, yo, we real religious with this. We priests of this. Right? So this is where the statement that Richard Morris makes, the Arabs were not much interested in the mystical accretions that alchemy had acquired.
Acquired.
It had acquired. See, it was new. He's, by his own admission, the Arabs are saying, yo, this mystical stuff is new. What is y'all talking about? Right? They pursued it, this is still, I'm quoting Richard Morris, they pursued it in a more down-to-earth manner. He gonna blow you away with this one. As the early Alexandrian alchemists had done. Wow. Wow. Let me read that again, hold on. They pursued it in a more down-to-earth manner. Remember, practical chemistry, everyday life. They pursued it in a more down-to-earth manner, as the early Alexandrian alchemists had done.
He's talking about the early Kim, and he's saying
Early Alexandrian alchemists. Yeah, those who were in Kim.
on the north, up north.
Yeah, so what he's saying is, the Arabs said, yo, forget all of that mystical stuff. We're pursuing it like what he says, the Alexandrian alchemists. Alexandrians in Kim.
I got you.
Okay.
But they wasn't talking about that. They was talking about the Nubians. The Arabs.
One could assume that they were saying, you know, y'all over here practicing this mystical stuff and it ain't even that. They did this all back in the day. Okay? This is alchemy. This ain't magic. This ain't mysticism. You ain't no god or no priest or no sorcerer. All this is alchemy. Have alchemy. That's simple. This is alchemy. And we're going to get into what is alchemy. Okay?
What is alchemy?
Okay, so this is one of the instances that the Honorable Dr. Chancellor Williams warned us about in his classic work entitled The Destruction of Black Civilization. Here you see the Western world openly admitting and denying the obvious at the same time. First, the author states that the origin of the word chemia was thought to be derived from the ancient name of Egypt. All good. Then, he very passively states that doubt is cast on this idea.
Why?
But fails to elaborate as to why.
I was wondering when you was going to elaborate too.
What's the doubt? It's the only thing you got. But there's doubt about it. Why? Nobody says. Why even mention it in the first place? Next, he gives yet another proof supporting the fact that the word is in fact in reference to Kim by stating that the Arabs pursued it in a manner similar to ancient Alexandrians who happened to be in Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, you're telling me at the same time, you're telling me like there's doubt, but you're telling me that, you know. Okay, so Mr. Morris went as far into the Arabic language as necessary to learn what al means. Remember he broke it down? Al. There's two letters, is a definitive article. Like he's really trying. Okay? He very conveniently passes over the word Kim. And then he leaves out iya, which is a serious suffix in the Arabic language. It's a serious suffix in Arabic. It's used all the time. Salafiyya, Islamiyya, Qadariyya, Imaniyya. Almost every word has been transformed with that suffix iya.